Hello, Great River community, including parents and families and staff and students. I want to just give a opening 2-minute summary of what we're talking about when we're talking about opening for in-person learning for lower elementary students starting on March 8th, and how over the next couple weeks we're going to be listening for all the feedback and ideas that students and families and staff have. And then also specifically, after my quick intro here, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into what we're thinking and why and how we're planning this way. And so specifically, I just want to cover that there is an idea that we want to announce right now a save the date so that you're keeping in mind that we are working our hardest toward an in-person learning model on March 8th for lower elementary students only, so grades 1, 2, and 3. And that specifically what we're looking to do is really meet the needs of so many families we know that are really looking for in-person learning, as well as the families we know who will stay in distance learning. Also, that a majority of metro elementary schools likely will be going into in-person learning before March 8th. And so we know that throughout February, all of the educators in Minnesota are going to be learning a lot about how to do that successfully. We don't want to wait to announce the date until later, because if we're ready on March 8th, we want to be ready for you to learn. And we anticipate that if all goes to plan, both at our school and other schools, we'll be able to do this well. And that a save the date for you allows you to stay informed. Specifically, what we're looking at is expert advice. And I've just listed some here. That's also in the letter that we've sent to Lower L families today. And this slideshow is posted on the internet that you can look it up. But these would be article examples of expert advice we've gotten from the Departments of Education and Health that are guiding us to understand how and why learning for elementary students, especially in person, is a secure approach to learning. It's not the right answer for everybody, which is why we're following a timeline to develop ideas and really listen. So this just gives you an idea right here of what will look like over the next 6 weeks. Notice that March 1st through 5th would be a week of no school for lower L students, meaning that our teachers and educators for the lower elementary would be on site getting the site ready. Our distance learning adjustments for that time would be getting ready. And then on March 8th, we are planning to be available for in-person learning for lower L students, and families still have the option to choose distance learning. And then just quickly, I also want to cover some very basic questions about equity that have been asked, and I'm glad that they have been. But specifically, who does it serve to choose to go in person for learning? And we believe that it's important to look at both the whole community, which is a graph that I've shown before to the whole community here on the left-hand side, where about half of our families were ready for in-person learning when we surveyed back in December, and about half wanted to stay in distance. Now, if we look at two separate demographics, these are demographic groups that can be traditionally underserved by institutional education, especially here in Minnesota. So first off, in the bottom right-hand corner, a demographic of non-white identifying students. So if we break that group out and we look at it as a whole, it looks very similar to families as a whole. A little bit more families leaning toward distance learning, a little bit fewer leaning toward in-person, but close to a 50-50 split at 47%, 52%. Where we do see a demographic distance is if we take a group of students who are elementary students that qualify for free and reduced lunch. Specifically, those students to a tune of 65%, those families would like those students to be in person. And that reflects the anecdotal evidence that we see in who's requesting to be on site for the Student Resource Center, and also who's letting us know that they really need an in-person model for their students. And if we look at lower elementary and break up between those two separate demographics again, non-white identifying students, you see a few more lower L non-white identifying students wanting in person, close to a 50-50 split. However, when we look at our lower elementary free and reduced lunch qualifying students, again, 3 out of 5 of those students would prefer to be learning in person, according to their families. And so here's what we're going to be doing. This week, we're announcing what we're doing. Next week, we will start surveying families and keep open the dialogue to hear what you need, the ideas you have, and the ways we can best meet student needs. And we'll be really working as a staff to refine a model choice for you based on your feedback and the dialogue we have. And the dialogue we have internally as a staff about how to best implement these models. And then the 15th through 27th of February, we'll be choosing and offering an RSVP so you can choose between the scenario that we're offering. And that will come out on February 19th. Again, a week of planning and no school, March 1st through 5th. And then on March 8th, in-person learning. Now, this is if everything goes to plan, if all the data we understand about the virus stays stable, and again, if all learning at other schools is going well, we're going to learn from that, and we're going to implement those going well methods. If we see anything that happens between now and February 23rd or February 27th even, we can postpone this in-person date based on that best data. And so I just want to let everyone know this is a save the date announcement. And then as we go further forward in the future, we'll be looking to really keep the dialogue open with you as families and students and our staff to make sure that this can work as well as possible for everyone. Thank you so much.